Hello again, Sebastian.
Oh, it's you again.
Not playing hide and seek anymore?
I've outgrown it.
Sore loser, huh?
I didn't lose. You cheated. Anyway, I've moved on to this now.
A paddleball?
My mum found it for me after I told her I wasn't getting the tin boot I wanted for my birthday.
It's not even your birthday.
That doesn't matter. Anyway, what? Bet you can't do this.
The little brat had me there. Like hula hooping, unicycling, and stilt walking, my facility with a paddleball was on par with my ability to do other completely useless party tricks. Shouldn't you be getting ready for the wedding?
I'm not the page boy anymore. I've been demoted.
How did that happen?
Well, before I started playing with this paddleball, I found a marble in one of the bedrooms. A super-sized one, perfect for bombing.
Whose bedroom?
One of the guest rooms. Mr. Beaumont's, I think. He's certainly lost his marbles.
What did you do with it?
Like my dad taught me, I'm keeping Mum on that one. All I'm going to say is that it was a big mix-up. Mrs. Craddock must have had her sense of humour surgically removed.
So, you think you're good with that paddleball, huh?
Better than you'll ever be. Just name a trick and I can do it.
Did you say you followed Cecil Belmore to a secret laboratory?
I was going to, but then I saw him.
Rackham?
Shh. Yeah, I'm good at hiding, but the way he moved, he was like a shadow.
Mallory told me to tell you she's not happy that you changed her toy catalog.
What's she going to do? I'm already dead.
But that's not a nice way to treat other people.
She started it.
How?
She tried to have me exorcised.
I beg your pardon?
Candles, salt, a pentagram. She even brought over a black cat from the fort. When I confronted her about it, she said she was just doing a science project.
I see. Bet you can't do the paddleball with your eyes closed.
Look and learn.
With Sebastian's eyes closed, I took out my scissors and when the timing was right, snipped.
Hey, what happened to my paddleball?
The ball just snapped right off there. Maybe you need to practice a bit more. With any other child, I'd feel guilty. With Sebastian, it felt like evening out the cosmic balance.
I bet Mallory was behind this.
I picked up the red rubber ball I'd cut from the paddleball. It looked like a clown's nose. It was the red rubber ball I'd cut away from Sebastian.
I'm getting the shivers, boss. It feels like I got a brain freeze, and I ain't even slammed down a snow cone.
You don't got a brain to get froze. It is feeling chilly, though, ain't it?
That's the first sign of ghosts, boss.
Don't be a crybaby. But just for safety, What's the second sign of ghosts?
The ghost's presence begins to interfere with the electric fields, most commonly seen manifesting as flickering lights.
If flickering lights were what would scare the rum runners, it was time to do some rewiring. I turned the dial to redirect the electricity through the faulty fuse.
Boss! The lights are flickering!
That's gotta be a coincidence.
Or a sign of ghosts!
What did you say the third sign of paranormal activity was, Morris?
The tolling of a bell!
I didn't need the fuse. If the tolling of a bell was the third sign of ghostly activity, it was time to ring in the witching hour.
The bell!
A chill in the air. Flickering lights. The tolling of the bell.
Do you think it's...
Ghost! Run for your life! Start, you blasted car!
Why are we not moving, Musket?
Because out of that long line of automobiles on Delancey Street, you decided to steal something less reliable than a politician's promise! Start, you rust bucket!
It started, Musket.
There we go! And now, we floor it!
We crashed, Musket.
I can see that we crashed, Morris. Well, there's only one thing we can do.
What's that, boss?
Run for our lives!
The collection plate was empty. I decided to leave the fan running. I couldn't see anything to do with the statue. I didn't need any more rum. The window is even more beautiful in person, adorning the altar below it like a crown. And that's when I noticed something. Below the window was a cross-shaped indentation in the wood that made me think something was missing. The text read, "In the light find the cross, for it shall bring you safe passage." Taking the book, I realized it was an old Bible with a thicker layer of dust than a nudist's summer wardrobe. I picked up the starter crank from the jalopy seat. I needed to think of something else. That seemed to get... I couldn't do... I needed... Shh! Hello again.
Are you still here?
Did you try to have Sebastian exercised?
No.
Mallory?
Exercise is supposed to be good for you. Anyway, he started it.
Actually, just stop. The less I know about this paranormal pranking, the better. Well, I'll leave you two to your plans.
Long live the sisterhood!
Is this the Bible you've been looking for?
My word, that it is, my boy. Oh, where did you find it?
Fallen down the side of a cabinet back in St. Juniper's church.
People do say they find faith in the most unexpected places, but down the side of furniture is certainly one of the most common. I'm most indebted to you. Is there anything I can give you to show my appreciation?
Actually, I did have my eye on that crucifix you're wearing.
Ah, are you looking for spiritual guidance, my child?
Absolutely. Particularly if it guides me to something hidden in St. Juniper's church.
Then I shall give it to you with my deepest thanks. Let it guide you to where you want to go.
It was the metal crank from the Rum Runner's jalopy, the type used to start a motor.
What a relief! My Bible returned to me. Why, if I hadn't gotten it back, we would have had to cancel the wedding.
The crucifix slid smoothly into the indentation, like the final piece in a jigsaw puzzle. I pressed the button and the panes of glass in the window above seemed to change, but it was hard to tell at night. Without sunlight behind them, all the colors were indistinguishable from one another. I knew I was on the right track, but at this time of night, the colors of the window were dark and indistinguishable. If only it had been dawn. The lighthouse light was off. I jiggled the gate, but it wasn't going to open. Blocking my entrance into the fort was a sturdy iron gate. I didn't need to set fire to that. I already had some gun. That wasn't going to work. It was the red rubber ball I'd cut away from Sebastian's paddle ball. I didn't need to cut that. I needed to think. I couldn't. I had an idea, one that required skill, subtlety, and finesse, or at least the ability to hurl a billiard ball through an open doorway. Yoink!
Did you just touch the table?
Absolutely not.
Ow! Who threw that?
Hello again, Captain Pemberley.
Welcome back, Captain McCallum.
I'd like a rematch at English billiards.
Thinking you can beat what I hit before? Step right up. I don't believe it. I've never seen 14s before. You must have arms like the coupling rods on a steam train.
A blessing and a curse, as I've discovered more than once to my own cost. But I don't like to boast. Does this mean I win the trophy?
I'm afraid it does, but you need to bring it back next Wednesday for the potluck. We'll have a rematch then.
With my newfound title as club billiards champion, it was time to claim my trophy. The billiard table was already occupied. It was the trophy I'd won at the captain's club, a gold-plated sphere of solid metal in the shape of a billiard ball.
Welcome back.
Would you be able to polish this trophy for me?
That's not a purchase that was made here, is it?
No, I got it from the captain's club.
What a relief. I could never forgive myself for selling something so gaudy.
Good evening, Captain Moot.
If you say so.
I'm the club's new champion billiards player.
Did you beat old Pemberley?
Beginner's luck, I suppose.
Ha! Looks like all those days at the bays haven't paid off, Gifford. Boy, you'll have to have a party to celebrate.
Sure, Moot. Just make sure to get an invitation so you don't have to crash the party. We all know how much you enjoy crashing things.
I better be off.
So long.
I decided to leave Captain Pemberley to his billiards. I couldn't do that. Nope. I had nothing else to say to... Hello again, Felix.
Hello again, sir.
Felix, I'm the new billiards champion of the Captain's Club.
You beat Captain Pemberley?
I certainly did.
Oh, thank goodness. Maybe he'll have a rest from it for a little bit. We haven't been able to pry him away from that table for months. I've been hiding those billiard balls, one a week since August. The guy won't give it up. It's cost the club a fortune in billiard chalk.
I best be casting off.
Farewell, Captain.
The fish was far too hot to pick up, and I was sure Ned wouldn't have wanted me to extinguish his grill.
Anything to report?
I'm keeping my eyes open. I needed to think. Evelyn seemed busy, and I didn't have anything else to... That wasn't going to... I had nothing else to say to Muffy. I looked to the bottom of the grave, but could only see dirt and darkness. I couldn't see any way to open the crypt door. Not a doorknob, not a keyhole. Whoever sealed this up intended to seal it up for good. Embedded into the stony hillside was a large, intricately carved crypt with a decorative geometric pattern on its stone doors. A geometric pattern that looked familiar. Good evening, Edgar. Is that the sanctuary crypt in the hillside?
That's right. Must be the oldest crypt in the cemetery.
Is there a way inside?
Not that I know of. I've never been in there. I don't think it's been used for centuries. There's a local legend that a tunnel runs into the crypt from the church. An old escape route. But if it's real, I've never found it.
What's that carving on the front of the sanctuary crypt?
Beats me. Just a fancy schmancy decoration, I assumed. But now that you mention it, I do think I've seen that pattern somewhere before.
I best be running along.
Goodbye.
I needed to trick the lighthouse keeper with some imitation fog.
Don't touch it now, Mac. It's still cooking. Got to wait until the skin is nice and charred.
I decided to leave. If Ned wanted to wait until the fish was cooked to tuck in, it was time to turn up the heat.
Whoa! We don't want you overdone, little fishy. Time to cut you open. Ready for a taste sensation, Mac?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Hand me back that knife, would you? That's strange. There's something in here. A horseshoe.
Now, how did that get in there?
Mac, I think your fish is stuffed.
Well, knock me over with a herring. I'm shocked. Does this mean my record doesn't count?
I hate to break it to you.
Did I hear what I think I heard? Out of the way, Buster.
Evelyn, what took you so long?
The record-breaking Pancoza was stuffed. The new record was a sham. Murphy, what have you got to say for yourself?
You've caught me red-handed. Well, I don't mean to be coy with you, but this cuts me to the soul. I only entered for the halibut. I can't believe I'm herring this right. I'm cracking up. I'm floundering. I'm carping on and on. I need to clear my head, but let me know if you need anything else from me.
I think you've got more of a future in the funny pages than serious journalism, Murphy. Kips, have you got time for an interview with the Juniper Parish Gazette?
Evelyn homed in on Ned like a dog with a bone and no sense of personal boundaries.
Do you hold any other records?
Using the date from the death certificate, I began to search through the newspaper's archives. And then, I found it. In the bottom corner of the newspaper was a small announcement showing that the person buried on that date was named Eleanor Hines. I ripped out the announcement and replaced the newspaper.
McAllen, I told you can't go back there.
Whoops, look at the time. I've really got to be going. I had a name to go along with the death certificate. Now it was time to find out where they were buried.
Hey, Mac. Don't be too down about your fish. The waters around here contain all manner of surprises. I reeled in an icebox last week, and a gas cooker the week before that. Just need a lure in a sink, and I can renovate our kitchen back home. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to be delivering to the Captain's Club tonight. If you see old Felix, ask him if they're running low, would you?
I decided to leave Ned. The fish was far too hot to pick up, and I was sure Ned wouldn't have wanted me to extinguish his grill. I had more important things to focus. Hello again, Felix.
Hello again, sir.
Ned Kipps wants me to ask if you need any more fish for the Captain's Club.
I'm afraid we're not serving food tonight. Chef's come down with a case of gastroenteritis from undercooked fish, ironically. But if we did need some, I'd be rather wary of getting it from the Dead Nettle Pier based on the rumors I've heard. A horseshoe and a pencosa. I wonder what aquatic ironmongery will be next. A candlestick and a catfish, perhaps?
I best be casting off.
Farewell, Captain.
I decided to leave Ned to his fishing. I had more. The death certificate must have been written up in relation to one of these groups. Do you know where I can find this grave?
Eleanor Hines? Name rings a bell, but I can't remember the face. She must be around here somewhere, though.
I began searching the graves for the name in the clipping, Eleanor Hines. Aha! I discovered a small headstone at the center of the cemetery, partially covered in moss and lacking any date whatsoever. So this was where Eleanor Hines had been buried. Except, now that I was looking at it etched in large letters, I began to realize something. The name was an anagram. Here lies no one? And if a person wasn't buried here, what was? To say digging up a grave felt eerie would be an understatement. But if something was down there, I needed to find out what it was. I took out the shovel and began to dig. Eventually, I found something. Not a coffin, but instead, a battered old chest. I opened the chest I dug up from the grave and found two things of interest: a round glass lens and an engraving in the lid of the chest. The engraving read, "The Tale of the Mermaid." I picked up the glass lens. There was nothing else in the grave. The small lens fit perfectly on the end of the telescope. I immediately looked through it to see what it would reveal. I spy with my little eye the next clue. The creek meandered all across the peninsula. Surely that was too much to search. The creek meandered all across the peninsula. Surely that was... It was a small creek running across the peninsula. The bayou would have been an easy place to hide something in. The clearing offered plenty of places to bury the next clue. Perhaps there was something important about the weather vane, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Perhaps a shipwreck lay somewhere off the coast? I'd already walked that road numerous times. Was there something along it I was missing? Maybe the top of the outcrop would provide a different perspective on something? The clue could easily be hidden beneath the pebbles in the bay. The Tale of the Mermaid. This must have been the location described in the chest's inscription, but looking through the gap in the weather vane, all I could see was darkness. With no easy path to it, I couldn't justify risking my life trekking through overgrown wilderness and the alligator-infested bayou unless I was sure something was there. I needed some way to light up the bayou. I took a match out of the matchbook, dragged it against the striker, and lit the firework. Illuminated by the glow of the fireworks, I could see something through the mermaid weather vane. It looked like a wishing well. My route to the well had me clambering over fallen tupelo trees and trudging through knee-deep water, lit only by moonlight and accompanied only by the overly curious critters of the bayou. But eventually, I found it. I looked down the well. I couldn't see the bottom. Perhaps the darkness concealed the next step of my treasure hunt, if I could find a way down into it. The swamp water was murky and dark. I wasn't going to find anything of interest in there. I wanted to turn the pulley, but realized the handle was missing. Without a handle, I wasn't going to get the leverage to turn it. The rope looked like it could bear my weight, if only I could lower it into the well first. The crank slid into the gear mechanism perfectly. I'd heard of throwing a coin down a well to make a wish, but never of throwing yourself down. I just had to hope a 30-year-old rope could still hold my weight. some luck, I found I'd landed on a metal platform jutting out into the hollow of the well. Clearly, I wasn't the first person to come down here, although the previous visitor might have arrived here more gracefully. I picked up the rope and the spindle it was attached to. Unless I planned on jumping even further down into the well, the alcove looked like the only route out. But as I ran my hands over the bumps in the darkness, I couldn't find anything but cold, wet stone. If there was something there, I'd need some illumination to find it. The light from a match was going to be too dim and too quick burning to properly examine what lay in the darkness. I needed to think bigger. I didn't need to tie that up. Knowing how flammable the grease-soaked cotton would be, I wrapped it around the spindle to form a rudimentary torch. That didn't work. I took a match out of the matchbook, careful not to drop it onto the wet floor, and ignited the torch. The torch burned brightly, dancing light into the formerly dark alcove. And that's when I saw it. Hidden within the rock face was a small metal box with a button on it. I pressed the button and immediately heard the sound of sparking electricity, seemingly coming from within the rocks themselves. And then... the torch was in a good place where it was. The passageway meandered like a labyrinth through the underground rock. With each step, I felt more and more lost and ready to turn back. Then up ahead, I saw a glimmer of light. I looked into the chasm, but all I could see were jagged rocks, darkness, and numerous health and safety concerns. The top of the stairs appeared to be a dead end, but the wooden board blocking my way and the muffled sounds of electricity suggested there was more to this passageway than met the eye. I placed my hands on the obstruction and pushed. I emerged into a dimly lit office that seemed to have been taken over by frighteningly active machinery, and from the familiar groaning of wood, I realized where I was. Despite my efforts, I couldn't find a way to open the bookcase passage from this side. Horror novels had told me that one of the shelved books might be a secret lever, but if there was one, I couldn't find it. The scrawls looked like the writings of a madman. I could identify words in Latin and strange occult symbols, but pieced together, they looked like they'd only have meaning to their author. I didn't want to interfere with the skeleton any more than I had to. It didn't feel right pulling the dagger from the skeleton. I solved your treasure hunt, Cecil. I hope you don't mind me taking this as my reward.
So you are the mortal who is trying to find the lost treasure of Belmore Manor before me.
Rackham.
You know who I am. Surely you must also know that you have started down a foolish path. It will only end in your death. Murphy McCallan.
What you've done to Abigail Belmore cannot be allowed to continue.
Abigail Belmore is dead, as will you be, if you continue this pathetic charade.
She deserves to be free, just like all the ghosts of the manor.
Don't let it be said I didn't warn you. If you're so interested in being friends with the dead, perhaps it's time you joined them. Just as Cecil Belmore's blood poured from his body, so shall yours.
Rackham's telekinetic powers had dropped me onto the mill's conveyor belt. My wrists and ankles now tied with the same wire that was strewn about the mill. But at least the buzzsaw wasn't on. And then it got even worse. With inches to spare, the belt snagged on the warping wooden frame and gave me a chance of escape, acutely aware that it could catch again any moment and send me hurtling into the spinning blade. With my hands and feet bound, I couldn't reach my belongings. Carefully, I held the wire wrapped around my wrists against the spinning blade. It cut through them like butter, just like it would do to me if I couldn't get my ankles free. With seconds left, I hacked into the wires with the scissors and just managed to cut through them. With my legs free, I swung myself off the conveyor belt. I'd survived being cut in half, and now I had Cecil's key. So this was the generator that the water wheel was powering. This was what was bringing the spark of life to Cecil's experiments. I needed to place it in its keyhole. I needed to place it in its keyhole. The key didn't fit. The key did. I placed the first key into the mantelpiece. I didn't need to take the key with me. It was a length of old rope that had snapped in the well, tied with a loop at one end. I didn't. That wasn't going to work. I didn't. It was the magazine. Remembering my childhood days, I wrapped the tissue paper around the comb to form a rudimentary kazoo.
Non ci posso credere. That was my moment. Your moment? We agreed in rehearsals that this scene would be about me. Because I did no such thing. You did it again! You always told me you tried to upstage me. Que pazza. Mama told you that. She always told me I should go solo. Right, that's it. I quit. You quit. I quit first. You'll never work in this town again. Work in this town again? We only arrived this morning. You sabotaged the show.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just...
That was hilarious. I liked it when the puppets fight, but I love it when it's the puppeteers.
Glad you enjoyed the show.
Could I borrow those instruments you used? If they come back, I'd like to direct the encore.
Sure, I doubt I'll have much more use for them. Could you take me to Crossbone Cove?
Well, look at that. That's quite the dangerous destination. Do you know how many boats have crashed against the rocks along that coast?
Does that mean we can't go?
Oh, sure we can. But it'll cost you.
How much?
Boat charter, insurance, perilous route supplement, double pay at this time of night. It's gonna cost you at least $50.
$50?
Plus tax. Let's call it $75 total.
75?
But listen, I'll give you private hire of the ferry for the rest of the night.
I don't have that much.
No problem. Just get back to me when you do. As I say it, you've got no other choice. Ain't no other ferry around at this time of night.
I didn't need to show him that. I didn't think he'd be interested in that.
Welcome back.
I had nothing else to ask him. Would you be able to polish my... He wasn't going... The cabinet was filled with precious jewels, geodes, and fossils next to a small sign that read, Treasures of the Earth. With the goldfish now swimming around happily inside it, I thought it best to leave it where it was. The goldfish had been through enough today. Hello again, Crab.
Hello, Murphy.
What was that puppet show you were watching?
A bastardization of the Commedia dell'arte. You know, I don't even think they're Italian. Shave the moustaches off, and they'd look exactly like two guys I saw down at the Absinthe Bar a few weeks ago.
Do you think they're really locals?
Worse than that. I think they're Floridians.
Does anyone else perform here?
On the Plaza del Pez? Oh, sure. We're plagued by performers. Last week, Some guy painted himself silver, shoved a steel rod up his sleeve, then stood there pretending he could float on air.
Sounds magical.
It wasn't magical when Mrs. Grotke took a tumble and tried to steady herself on him. Knocked the guy right into the bay. He might have been able to float on air, but he sure couldn't float on water.
Are you not a fan of the theater?
Quite the contrary. I dreamed of one day treading the boards, basking in the limelight.
What would your act have been?
Hypnosis. Ever since I was a boy, I would practice for hours, honing my hypnotic stare.
Were you any good at it?
I don't know. I never tried it out other than in the mirror. But anytime I hear a bell ring, I do start clucking like a chicken.
Have you ever auditioned for the local theater?
At the Calliope? No, I can't say that I have. I always felt that the innate connection between the performer and the audience was disrupted by the proscenium arch. An actor should get out among the spectators. It's simultaneously a symbol and a reflection of the society they find themselves in. A commentary on the bourgeoisie that belongs within the everyday experience, not locked away behind an entry fee.
And you think that can come across in street theater?
Of course. Unless you're a mime, and you just look silly.
I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
I had nothing else to say to... Hello again, Captain Pemberley.
Welcome back, Captain McCallan.
Don't tell anyone I told you this, but the maitre d' has been hiding the billiard balls. That's why you don't have enough to play a full game.
Felix has been purloining my balls?
Every week for 3 months.
Well, I feel tremendously violated. I shall be writing a letter of complaint to the club secretary. A man's balls are sacred.
Billiard balls?
Absolutely.
I'd best be running along. Enjoy your evening.
Farewell, Captain McCallan. Oh, before you go, is that Pencosa fish I could smell from the kitchens?
Out on the docks, actually. Ned started up a grill.
I had a Pencosa fish once.
To eat?
No, I could never eat him. He was a pet of mine. Used to swim around in my bathtub, though he didn't much care for the squeeze when Mrs. Pemberley took a bath. Lived to the ripe old age of 13. I had him stuffed and mounted aboard the Spirit Queen to honor his treasured life. Bernie, I called him.
I had the dawning realization that I knew that fish better than I had expected.
I wonder what happened to him.
Well, he's definitely Bernie now, I can tell you that. I decided to leave Captain... I had nothing else to say to... I decided to... The fish was far too hot to pick up, and I was sure Ned wouldn't have wanted me to extinguish his grill.
Murphy, the Devil's Rock Devil has returned.
What's he done now?
I heard that he's provoked public disorder at the Puppet Theater, dug up graves, launched fireworks without a permit, operated a buzzsaw without safety equipment. Know anything about it?
Can't say that I do.
Keep your eyes open.
Evelyn seemed busy, and I didn't have anything else to ask her. I couldn't do... I didn't need to set fire... I didn't have... It was strange. The dry ice clattered into the metal window box. I poured the contents of the bottle onto the dry ice, and immediately it started to evaporate, filling the area with mist. I flicked the switch, turning off the ceiling fans, and watched as the mist outside stopped being blown into the night air and instead began to fall into the club.
Waiter!
I told you, I don't work here.
Do you know how to work a lock at least?
Sure I do.
Right. Well, the fog's coming in, and someone needs to switch on the lighthouse light. I would do it myself, but that fort's danker than the inside of a sailor's trousers. Use this key to unlock the gate, then turn on the light with the switch on the ramparts. Think you can handle that?
I'm on it. From the fort ramparts, I had an That didn't work. That didn't work. I poured the gunpowder into the cannon. I loaded the billiards trophy into the cannon. Spherical and solid metal. It was the perfect improvised cannonball. I packed in the gunpowder and makeshift cannonball. Now there were just 2 steps remaining. Aim and fire. Whoa! The cannon looked like it might still work. If it did, I knew from that evening's previous experience with firearms that 5 steps were required. Gunpowder, shot, ramrod, aim, fire. The cannon looked like it might still work. The cannon didn't need a fuse. I was only going to be able to fire this cannon once, and I needed to make sure it was aimed right. The rocky coastline all looked the same. I needed a way to make a target. Walking into the church, I was presented with the sight of the stained glass window illuminated beautifully by the lighthouse beam. They lined up perfectly. Pressing the button, I noticed something had changed in the stained glass window. Whatever mechanical process it used was a mystery to me, but pressing the button caused the panes of glass to tilt ever so slightly, so that the white light from the fort was split into 4 different colors that seemed to dance around the window. soon as the plates in the stained glass window clicked into place, forming a translucent cross at the center, I heard a rumble behind me. The sound of antique machinery somewhere beneath the stone floor. The uneven stone staircase descended beneath the church into a dark, narrow tunnel. I considered taking one of the skulls, but each seemed firmly immovable and really creepy. I considered taking one of the skulls The passageway twisted far away from the church, finally emerging in a round room lit only by a pale shaft of moonlight filtering through a narrow hole above. Tombs surrounded me in solemn silence. I had found the sanctuary crypt. I couldn't reach the chandelier. The brickwork was crumbling, and although I couldn't dislodge it with my bare hands, I could tell it wouldn't take much force to break through. I needed to know what was on the other side of that wall, and this was a situation that called for some straightforward destruction. You're free now, Yardley. He can't keep you imprisoned anymore.
I grow weary of your inability to heed my warning, Murphy McCallan. No good shall come from you pursuing this.
I know all about your plan, Rackham.
My plan will succeed, with or without your interference. I'm afraid you're making a terrible mistake, McCallan. For your own sake, I suggest you leave this island for good.
Never. Whether you like it or not, I'm part of this story now, too.
You haven't learnt, have you, McCallan? Everything you've done so far has just made the situation worse. Now is the time to back out.
I'll never do that, Rackham. Finding the treasure is more important to me now than it's ever been.
Then I hope it's a cause you're willing to die for. Just as Yardley Belmore was entombed alive, so shall you be.
Rackham's spell had transported me somewhere I couldn't immediately place. I was lying down, my arms pinned to the side of me, my hands only able to feel the grain of the wooden boards to the sides and above and below me. And then I heard the noise, something thudding on the boards above me. That's when I realized I was being buried alive. I pushed on the coffin lid with all my might, telling myself that an inch of cedar was all that separated me from the night air, but it was no use. Help! Help me, I'm stuck in here!
Who's saying that?
Down here! I'm inside the coffin. I need you to get me out.
You're in the coffin?
Yes!
Pull the other one. Do you think I'm falling for that again?
Wait, what? Really? I'm trapped in here.
I don't know how you're doing it, but I don't believe you. You can't fool old Edgar 3 times with that prank. Ugh, these tourists are gonna be the death of me.
The death of him? It seemed like my earlier escapades had come back to bite me in the behind. If I was going to get out, I needed to prove I was down there. It was time for some outside-the-box thinking. By the time I finished drilling my way out with the auger, I'd be under several feet of dirt. There wasn't room to swing a shovel inside the cramped coffin. That wasn't going to help. I fumbled in my pockets and took out the screw jack, bracing it between the floor and the lid. With each crank, the pressure grew and grew, until finally... Hey! Could you get me out of here?
Murphy? What are you doing down there?
Trying to not be down here.
I'll go fetch a ladder. Don't go anywhere.
Where do you think I could go? Before I'd even reached the top of the ladder, Edgar had fled to the safety of his shack, far away from the grave where he'd inadvertently tried to bury me. But one good thing had come out of it. Now I had Yardley's key. Good evening, Edgar.
Murphy. Just the person I was hoping to see. I was walking through the cemetery just before and nearly broke my neck falling into a big old hole I definitely don't remember digging. You wouldn't know anything about it, would you?
A hole? You know, I have seen it. Almost went head over heels into it myself. Are you sure you didn't dig it?
Of course I didn't. And if I didn't, who or what did?
Maybe it was moles? Big ones. Really big ones.
Moles? Yeah, my doctor did say I should keep an eye on them.
I found a way into the sanctuary crypt.
You got yourself in there? I thought that place was closed up tighter than a jar of pickles dipped in superglue.
I certainly did. The pattern on the entrance was a clue to a secret passage from the church.
Well, I'm envious, Murphy. That's the kind of place I can only dream of ending up.
A dank old crypt?
For some, but I see a nice, quiet atmosphere. Plenty of legroom, no nosy neighbors to interrupt your rest. Those skeletons in there don't know how good they have it. It's only us living folk who can actually appreciate it. In my opinion, death's wasted on the dead.
Can you believe you almost buried me alive?
If anybody asks you, that never happened. One word of this gets out, and I'll never be allowed near a coffin again.
I best be running along.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Captain Moot.
If you say so.
I switched on the lighthouse light.
Do you want a medal?
I better be off.
So long.
I decided to leave Cap... ferryman wouldn't have liked me snooping around inside the boat. If I needed more help from Crab, I was going to need to charter his ferry. The ferryman had a face that told 1,000 stories, not one of which would be fit for polite company. I didn't think he'd be interested in that. What do you think of my captain's license?
Is that license forged?
What? No!
Don't worry, I forged mine too. Even by my standards, I shouldn't be within a dozen feet of a ship's wheel. But here we are.
I had nothing else to say to Muffy. Did you say you were looking for a more secluded beach?
Yes, that's right. Have you found one?
Look at this! Further along the coast is a bay called Crossbone Cove.
Crossbone Cove! That does sound very bony. How do we get there?
There's a ferryman in town named Crab McCready who can take us to Crossbone Cove. We just need $75 to cover the charter fee.
Oh, absolutely. I can spare some of my allowance. Let me write you a check.
It was a signed check I'd been given by Muffy Carlyle, the fossil hunter, to charter a ferry to Crossbone Cove.
That should cover it.
I'll go charter it at once. Hello again, Muffy.
Hello, Murphy.
Can we use your yacht to get to Crossbone Cove?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I gave Rufus the evening off. I knew I'd be plenty busy here on the beach, so I told him not to come back until morning. He said he was going to the Carondelet Cat House. Goodness knows why. I'm a dog person myself.
Well,
I'll never give up.
I needed to think of something. Will this cover the ferry payment?
Ooh, I didn't think you'd get that much. Sure it will. Who's this Carlyle guy?
Oh, he's coming too. He's funding the trip.
Well, he gets a promotional flag too.
Gee, thanks.
Consider this ferry chartered. Thank you for placing your trust in the Crab McCready Ferry Company, despite all the reviews. Now, once your compatriot is here, we can cast off. Pen that map up inside the cabin, will you? It'll be a tricky voyage to Crossbone Cove. I haven't sunk yet. This month.
And so we were off, captained by a man whose body composition had more alcohol in it than a bottle of vodka. And yet he navigated like a seasoned dancer, pirouetting through the treacherous currents with a drunken grace, all the while sipping from a flask that smelled stronger than window cleaner. Crab, I can't complain about your captaincy skills, but I've got to ask, how did you get through those treacherous rocks with so much alcohol in your bloodstream?
Murphy, if I didn't have the alcohol in my bloodstream, I wouldn't be going anywhere near those rocks in the first place.
I didn't want to go paddling. Looking back out through the narrow inlet across the waves, I could see Fort de la Moor, with its ramparts of antique cannons and lighthouse-top tower. Currently, it was shining away from Crossbone Cove. With use of the ferry for the rest of the night, the Creaky Crab 2 remained ready to take me back to Dead Nettle. I didn't want to disturb the rock pile. I might have made it collapse. Nope. Hey, Crab, what is this thing?
Ah, there's a cairn. Probably built centuries ago.
What was it used for?
The cairns were used by pirates as markers. You see, with all these coves and caves along the coastline, it'd be easy to lose track of which one held the booty. So they'd stack up the rocks and put something reflective on top, like a shard of metal from a broken cutlass or a handheld mirror. Then, as they'd sail the coast, they'd shine their lanterns across the beaches, and if they saw something reflect back, they knew that's where they'd hidden the stolen loot.
Do you think the cove still has treasure?
I don't think so. What's the point of hiding gold and jewels if you don't come back to collect and spend them?
I balanced the brooch on top of the cairn, its reflective jewel facing out to the horizon. If pirates could make use of this, maybe I could too. I couldn't. That wasn't going to. The rowboat had no oars, and more importantly, no structural integrity. It wasn't going anywhere. At the far end of Crossbone Cove, all I came across was a wall of rocks and boulders. It seemed the cave I was after had gone missing. Hello again, Muffy.
Hello, Murphy.
Any luck finding those fossils?
Nothing. I'm beginning to think this island doesn't have any fossils.
Have you found anything at all?
Only these.
Oh my goodness, Muffy! Those are gemstones! Rubies, emeralds, sapphires? This might be genuine pirate treasure.
But they're not fossils, are they? They're nothing more than baubles. They're not the figurative footsteps of ancient behemoths, the skeletal remains of the kings of the prehistoric world. I'll have you know, I'm not conducting this exploration for financial gain, but for the love of dinosaurs. Here, you seem rather entranced by them. You can have them.
Gosh, thank you, Muffy. What do you think of Crossbone Cove, Muffy?
I feel like a real explorer out here. Such daring and tranquil isolation. Inaccessible. Miles from civilization.
It's nice to get away from it all, isn't it?
Just the place to build a summer retreat, I'd say. A manor on the cliffside, a pier for the yacht, connect up a road for Rufus, my driver, a few cottages for the staff. Then I'd be able to enjoy the isolation properly.
You haven't seen a cave around here, have you?
I'm afraid not. Why? Have you lost one?
It appears so.
Well, don't give up. Things are always in the last place you look.
Good luck with the fossil hunting.
I'm close. I can feel it.
What looked to be the entrance to a cave had been covered over by a rockfall. With use of the ferry for the rest of the night. Hello again, Crab.
Hello, Murphy.
Isn't there supposed to be a cave here?
Looks like there's been a rock slide. Not unusual on this side of the island. The Caribbean hurricanes hit these coves with full force.
Do you think there's a way into the cave?
That has to be 200 tons of solid rock. The only way you're going to get through there is by blowing a hole in it. And I'm afraid the Creaky Crab 2 here is too small for artillery.
Do you think there are any fossils on this beach?
Bones? Here? I don't think so. You see, most of the rock is igneous. It doesn't have the right sedimentary process and stratigraphic considerations.
You need to have a thorough understanding of geologic timescales and the depositional environments present in a particular era to fully grasp why fossils wouldn't be found in rock formations like these.
I didn't expect you to know so much about geology.
Most people don't. Skills like that, you keep close to your chest. Never know when they'll come in useful.
What do you think of Muffy persisting in his search?
Well, everybody needs a hobby, right? I collect rubber ducks.
You continue to surprise me, Crab. So pirates used to use this beach to stow hidden treasure?
I heard this one was used by Captain Crumb.
He's related to Jasper Crumb, the jeweler, isn't he?
Hard to believe, isn't it? One of the most vicious pirates to sail these seas. Until he got the wind knocked out of his sails. How a bloodline can go from a man who would cut through a dozen men for just a single doubloon to a man who came off worse in a fight with a budgie is beyond me.
What knocked the wind out of Captain Crumb's sails?
Some say it was a ghost ship. Personally, I think he must have had a midlife crisis. Tried to find something more fulfilling, like crochet or watercolour painting. All that swashbuckling would wear anyone out.
I'd like to head back to Dead Nettle, please.
I'll stay here. Come back for me later. I'm not leaving until I find a fossil.
That guy's elevator doesn't go all the way to the top floor now, does it? Hop aboard, Murphy.
As I directed the light along the coast, it caught the polished brooch I'd placed on the cairn, reflecting back the light fantastically, like a signal mirror. The cannon was ready to fire, but Muffy was still at Crossbone Cove. No matter how annoying the lanky fellow was, I couldn't fire the cannon while he was still on the beach searching for fossils.
Welcome back.
The cabinet was filled with precious jewels. I've got something to sell that I think you'll be very interested in.
Wonderful. What is it you're selling?
These are genuine pirate gems. They were discovered at the treacherously inaccessible Crossbone Cove, where they must have laid undisturbed for 2 centuries. Just imagine their history. Fierce ship battles, sword fights, X marks the spot. They must be priceless.
That's a very exciting story, Murphy. But I'm afraid what we have here is glass.
Glass?
Yes, sea glass. Bits of bottle or a broken lantern, perhaps. They fall into the sea, then get smashed up into little pieces by the rocks. The tide wears them down until you end up with pretty little polished pieces like this.
Does that mean you're not going to buy them off me?
I'm afraid not. But they are pretty. I'll tell you what I'll do. Have a look and see if there's something you'd like to trade them for. Does that sound like a deal?
Sounds like the best deal I'm going to get. Could I trade the sea glass for one of these fossils?
Certainly. I think that's within your price range. Which would you like?
The swirly one at the front would be great. Thank you.
Pleasure doing business with you.
It was the ammonite fossil that I traded sea glass for at the jeweler's. Returning to Crossbone Cove, I discovered the lighthouse at Fort de l'Amour was now illuminating the inside of the cove. Muffy, look what I just found.
Is that what I think it is? A dinosaur fossil. A memento of the behemoths. A shadow of a bygone age. My very own dinosaur. That's an ammonite, that is.
Really not helping here, Crab.
Just saying.
And it was right here where you were searching. You were right after all.
I was right. I'm a real-life paleontologist. This'll show Papa.
Crab, we're heading back to Dead Nettle. Muffy found what he was looking for.
Glad to hear it. Step aboard. Where did your friend run up to so fast?
I have no idea, but I think we made a childhood dream come true tonight.
I am so overwhelmed, I might spew right across the deck.
Hello again, Crab.
Hello, Murphy.
I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
With the brooch at Crossbone Cove reflecting light back from the lighthouse, I knew exactly where to aim. I took a match out of the matchbook and lit the cannon's fuse. I felt like a pirate captain about to unleash a broadside barrage. Ready the cannons, you scurvy scallywags! Pull the ship to port, down with the mainsail! Buckle your swash and fire! That looks like it might have worked.
Well, blow me down. What's happened here? Did you do this, Murphy?
I needed to find a way in.
Well, Aladdin, I think you found your magic cave.
The cannon fire had worked. The boulders that had fallen in the rock slide were now rubble strewn across the beach, revealing what I'd been searching for, a dark cave winding into the cliffside. A ghostly glow flickered from the far end of the cave as I slipped on the seaweed-covered rocks trying to reach it. I began to fear the worst, but as I emerged in the subterranean chamber, I discovered it was actually the otherworldly glow of plankton. I didn't know if my mind was playing tricks on me, but the rock formations in the cave began to look like a skull and crossbones. So that's why they call it that. I wasn't going to be able to pick up the algae with my bare hands. Nope. Nope. I scooped up some of the algae water. With a quick shake to agitate it, the bottle began to shine like a blue lantern. The thought of touching the skeleton sent a shiver down my spine. I found you, Xavier. Your final expedition won't have been in vain.
Murphy McCallan, you will pay for your insolence.
I have the third key now, Rackham. The treasure doesn't belong to you. I will get to the Belmore treasure before you.
Do you think this is a game, Murphy McCallan? You are toying with things beyond your understanding.
I think you're just nervous that I'm closer to finding the treasure than you are.
I will not be defeated by a mere mortal. Even if you claim the treasure, I will haunt you to the ends of the earth. There will be no escape from the terror and misery I will bring down upon you. Each time you sleep, I will turn your every dream into an unending nightmare.
I've survived your attempts to kill me twice now, Rackham. Maybe you're not as powerful as you think you are.
Even with the 3 keys, do you really think you can beat me to the treasure, Murphy? You are a mortal. I am an all-powerful spirit. I have looked upon the face of death, and still I remain here. Now it's time for you to look upon death too. Just as Xavier Belmore drowned in the rising tide of this cave, so shall you.
When Rackham's earthquake finally stopped, I realized the route I'd followed into the cave was blocked. Tons of impenetrable rock and rubble now stood between me and the outside world. I was trapped. The only source of light was the glowing algae in the water, but even that dimmed to darkness when it went undisturbed in the quiet cave. At any point, the cave could fill up with seawater, drowning me just as it had Xavier. I needed to find a way out. I didn't know if my mind was playing tricks on me, but the rock formation... So... There was no way through the wall. I didn't need to pour algae water. I didn't need to pour algae water on that. I didn't... As I stood still, I noticed the algae beginning to dim. I'd read that its glow was triggered by vibrations, and without my footsteps, it was getting darker. As the darkness dimmed in the cave, I began to make out a faint luminescence in the form of a whirlpool. Some turbulence beneath the water was making the algae glow, and I hoped it might be an underwater tunnel. The lights below the water didn't offer much chance of escape, but at least it was better than waiting to drown in the cave. Using the bottle of algae as an underwater lantern, I waded into the water, then dived down below the surface. The underwater tunnels felt like a maze. I pulled myself past jagged rocks and twisting passages, with only the ethereal blue glow of the algae to light my way, until finally, with only seconds of air left in my lungs, I reached the surface.
Murphy, what are you doing over there? It's dangerous to swim out here, you know. You could get washed into a sea cave or something.
Thanks for the advice, Crab. I'll make a note of that. Green from the seawater I'd swallowed, I could at least say I'd survived being drowned. And now I had Xavier's key. That was it. All 3 skeleton keys. Now it was time to open the vault. Hello again, Crab.
Hello, Murphy.
I'd like to...
Up above.
I placed the second key into the mantelpiece. I placed the third key into the mantelpiece and immediately heard a click. I didn't know what exactly I was going to discover beneath the house, but it was time to find out.
I wouldn't go down there if I were you.
This is the only way to save everyone in the house. I need to see what's down there.
A cry for help will make no sound with secrets deep below the ground. Dare he walk into the black, for once he's in, he won't come back.
The staircase coiled down and down beneath the house, carved out of the very rock the house sat on. Lit only by flickering lanterns, I worked my way towards the green glow beckoning me at the end of the tunnel. Finally passing through the frame of a large metal door and into the Belmore vault. That must have been the treasure coffin. The same one the Belmore brothers traded for in the Caribbean, and that meant I had a pretty good guess what was inside, if I could find a way to reach it. There didn't appear to be a way to operate the crane. I reached down to the hand wheel and pulled it from the glowing water, careful not to splash any on myself. It was a soda bottle that I'd filled up with eerie green water from the vault. The entire vault was flooded with spirit water, its glow illuminating the cavern. The bottle I was carrying would be a better choice for that. I didn't need to keep it hot or cold. I didn't want to lock myself in. The hand wheel slotted perfectly onto the axle of the crane. With the hand wheel reattached, I could now operate the crane. The hook was lowered as far as it could go. There didn't seem to be much reason to attach the rope to the hook while it was lowered. As I peered into the coffin, I saw for the first time the cursed artifact that had caused all of this, the coffin stone. Its surface is black as brimstone, each crack faceted like an emerald. Simultaneously beautiful and terrifying. I needed to think of something else. That didn't work. I didn't need to pour spirit water on that. I couldn't remove the nails with my bare hands. One by one, I pried the old nails from the coffin.
And so the elusive artifact is found.
Rackham, you've lost. I found the coffin stone before you. Your plan has failed.
Congratulations, Murphy McCallan. But now I think it's time you hand it over to me.
I'll never give it to you.
Give it to me or die.
You've attempted to kill me 3 times now, and every time you've failed. You don't scare me anymore.
Yes. How convenient that you managed to escape 3 times. Such failure on my part would be terribly embarrassing. It's almost as though it was planned that way.
Planned?
Could perhaps the perpetual threat of an evil phantom have motivated you to quicken your pace in finding the coffin stone? Without a demonstration of the threat, you might well have walked away. But you did exactly as I wanted. My powers outside this house may have been constrained to mere projections, and yet everything I needed was accomplished by you.
You wanted me to find the stone?
Now the foolish mortal understands. And just as you hold something valuable to me, I hold something that is valuable to you.
Abigail, are you okay?
I'm afraid she's very much under my spell again, McCallan. And for the final time, too. Her final struggle to escape the spell. All that energy she spent to warn you, wasted on someone as worthless as you. Now, because of it, she's trapped forever.
I'll save her.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
I'll use the coffin stone to save her.
You know nothing about the stone, McCallan. Do you even know how to use its powers?
I know enough to not let you have it.
Let me tell you the final piece of the puzzle. The Belmore treasure will belong to me. For years, I have studied and mastered powers beyond anything you could know. I deserve that stone. But as you've come to learn, Murphy McCallan, this magical artifact has one important rule. It will only work for its rightful owner. It cannot be stolen. It can only be bought or traded or inherited. I knew the Belmores would never sell or trade it to me of their own volition. But if I were to marry Abigail, all our worldly goods would become one another's. If she inherited the entire Belmore estate. Perhaps I underestimated her infatuation with that sailor. The need to look into the eyes of her true love as she vows I do. But tonight, it's time to perform the wedding again. And if she needs to gaze into her true love's eyes to go through with it, this time I will make that happen. Don't you remember yet, Murphy? Only you could be lured to the island. Only you could summon the spirits of the house. Only you heard the call of the treasure within. You've been here before.
Walking through the port town of Deadnettle, I could sense its history in every stone, brick, and plank.
I know what your mind sees when your eyelids close. Tell me, Murphy, what do you dream of?
I've been dreaming about this treasure since I first read about it. It's like it's calling for me to find it.
It's like it can infect your dreams.
Even without lights on, it felt like something inside the house was calling me, or warning me.
I suppose fate will always bring two soulmates together, even when they least expect it.
It's very rare for someone to come back from the other side. It can happen.
And Murphy, this ghost story, now it's your story too.
You came back.
You were the sailor, Murphy McCallum. Welcome home.
It felt like I was falling through every memory of my life, and then every memory of the life I once lived, the realization crystallizing in my mind like a flash of lightning. I was the sailor. I remembered everything, an entire relationship coursing through my mind in seconds, and the tragic way it ended. But I'd come back for her. Abigail, you don't have to marry him. I remember. I loved you. I still love you.
It's too late, McCallum. She's my bride-to-be now.
She broke free of the spell the last time you tried to make her say I do. She'll do it again. It's me she wants to marry.
You're right about that. This time, it'll be your eyes she sees before her. I promised you death, Murphy, and I intend to deliver. For 33 years, I was trapped in this house. Now you'll be trapped here for eternity. Such a feeble vessel, but I'll have to make do. Do excuse me, Mr. McCallum. I have a wedding I'm running frightfully late for, and I'd just die if I missed it.
And that's how I died. My body torn from its spirit, and then possessed by Rackham for his evil ends. All those times I'd read about the ghosts of Belmore Manor, and now I was one of them. But just like those ghosts, death wouldn't be the end for me. If I could escape the vault. In taking my body, Rackham had also taken all the belongings I'd collected. I wondered what he'd done with them. Looking back into the treasure coffin, I found it now contained all the items I'd collected on my adventure. I gathered up all the belongings I'd been carrying. Rackham might not see their purpose, but if they'd helped me out once, they might be useful again. The hook was lowered as far as it could go. I'd once won a wooden whistle in a lasso game at the county fair. Now it was time to play the game with a little more on the line. I attached the heavy metal hook to the handle on the door. Well, I hope that holds. Holding the door in place was a pair of metal hinges that each looked like they'd begun to fracture, but pulling at them with my fingers would do nothing. The auger wasn't strong enough to get through the I may not have been able to get through the vault door with brute force, but I could certainly make an impact on its hinges. The vault door went crashing into the spirit water below, and in doing so gave me my escape route. The vault door was of no use to me. The vault door had landed in the water below, barely poking above the surface. With no time to lose, I needed to get to the ballroom.
We are gathered here today to join Abigail Belmore and Murphy McCallan in holy matrimony.
Rackham's plan was taking shape. At the far end of the ballroom, Father Foskett was delivering the rites that would wed Abigail to Rackham, even if he possessed my body to do it. I needed to stop the wedding, and I didn't have much time left at all. I couldn't go any further and risk Rackham seeing me before I was ready to confront him. The peculiarity of what was happening didn't seem to faze the ghosts in attendance, who watched with an eerie calm. At the far end of the ballroom, I could see the wedding unfolding. Rackham, possessing my body, was about to marry Abigail. I needed to... Nope. I didn't need to pour spirit water on. Nope. Good evening, Mrs. Craddock.
It is certainly not a good evening. The kitchens aren't prepared, the flower arrangements are a shambles, and they've changed the schedule 3 times already.
The schedule?
Right behind me in black and white. And am I even permitted to see the wedding? Of course not, in case any guests arrive late. Through a door we're supernaturally barred from passing through. I almost daren't say it, but I'm on the verge of resigning my duties. I am the head of housekeeping. I deserve respect.
What did you say was on the chalkboard?
As I said, this is the schedule of tonight's events. I've spent the past 40 minutes writing that up, with all the calligraphic flair my teachers taught me in preparatory school. And now I'm hearing rumors that the schedule is going to change. No self-respecting housekeeper should have to deal with so much in such a short period. One more change, and I shall be handing in my notice.
I need to stop the wedding.
You shall do no such thing. I've put a lot of work into this event, and I won't have an off-the-street gutter snipe like you interrupting it. I'm barely hanging on as it is.
Goodbye, Mrs. Craddock.
Goodbye, indeed.
Noticing the similarity between Mrs. Craddock's chalk artistry and the wedding schedule, it was time to ask some questions. Are the times on your chalkboard correct?
Excuse me. Whatever do you mean?
Well, it's just that I was given this other schedule and the times are very different from yours. Maybe things have been shuffled around?
expected to work under these conditions. A wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. If they keep reconsidering every decision, I can't be expected to keep up with it.
Yep, definitely different. This looks like it'll take ages to fix.
That's it! They're already at the altar. I shall be taking my leave. Somebody else can hand out the vol au vents.
With the noise and waddling motion of a cranky goose, Mrs. Craddock strode across the grand hall, through a doorway, and out of sight. The delicately drawn writing on the chalkboard listed the schedule of events for the wedding. A decorative chalkboard stood by the door. Good evening, Colonel.
I think he decided to take up unicycling, actually.
It was a strange feeling, staring at a decaying skeletal body that, once upon a time, used to be me. I didn't need to pour... I didn't want to... There was nothing large that I needed to move. Walking back into the conservatory, I could hear the unnerving hum of electricity. The outer casing of the automaton had been removed. Clearly, Rupert was undertaking some maintenance on it. The interior of the automaton was laced with wires, fuses, and other dangerous-looking electrical devices. Even as a ghost, it didn't feel safe to touch anything inside it. The casings were elaborately formed sheet metal meant for the automaton, and not very useful for much else. The gardener's hand-painted sign of a human skull surrounded by electricity bolts clearly warned me to stay away if I didn't want to get electrocuted. The danger sign dangling from the automaton warned of electrocution. Now it wasn't just the plants in the conservatory that were deadly, it was the statuary too. But being dead already, I decided to take the risk. I took the engraved coin from the automaton's now open hand. It was the silver coin I'd found during Cecil's treasure hunt, now retrieved from the conservatory's automaton. It was the cotton flag that Crab, the ferryman, had given me, embroidered with his company logo. That didn't work. That wasn't going to work. As a ghost, I was trapped in the house. I needed to get my body back. The door was... I picked up the horn. Abigail had no need for it anymore. I didn't have the time or tools to remove the wooden planks. Abigail had gone, and so had the final tokens of her happiness. It was best to leave the vase where it was. I couldn't see anything special about the phonograph's reflection. There was nothing I could do with the tabletop. I didn't need to pour spear. I didn't need to pour. I thought that Abigail would prefer them to stay where they were. There was nothing left in the ashpan. I didn't want to draw attention to myself by ringing the servant's bell. The door was locked again.
As the gentle breeze guides the leaves, so too shall you be guided together.
I needed to I couldn't go any further and risk Rackham seeing me before I was ready to confront him. That didn't work. I needed to think. I couldn't. That didn't. Nope. That didn't work. That wasn't going to. That didn't work. Like a guilty schoolchild held back after class, I rubbed down the chalkboard. And came away with the flag covered in chalk dust. In a flash of inspiration, a plan came into my mind. The summoning spell revealed that which is hidden within. Maybe it could reveal the evil spirit that was hidden within my mortal body, if I could find all the ingredients. Being made of silver, the engraved coin was just right for going into the gree-gree. I placed the coffin nails into the gree-gree. I placed the chalk dust-covered flag into the gree-gree. I didn't need to pour spirit water on that. I placed the feather duster in the gree-gree. That would work as black feathers. That didn't work. It was a manuscript that looked hundreds of years old, with the instructions to a spell that summoned things hidden within. It was a manuscript that... The pot was practically empty again, with only a few drops of liquid wax left at the bottom. I needed to think of something else.
Leave it there, boy. I'm saving it for the toast.
It was clear that if I wanted it, I was going to have to persuade the colonel to let me take it. A tricky task when he was deafer than Beethoven wearing earmuffs. Would you like your ear trumpet back?
It's no use. I can't hear a blasted thing you say. I wish I had my ear trumpet back.
I'll take that as a yes.
Oh, thank you, my boy. I suppose now that Foskett's not here, I can enjoy a little peace again.
Why aren't you at the ceremony?
The ceremony?
I think everybody's gone through to the ballroom for the wedding.
Well, I didn't hear an announcement.
I wondered why. Good evening, Colonel. I need to stop the wedding.
An objection? Oh, how exciting! I objected at a wedding once. The unfortunate part was that I was the groom.
Do excuse me. I'll be back.
I'll drink to that.
Would you like me to top off your drink?
Oh, yes, my boy. Good plan. I meant to save it for the toast, but who can blame a man when such temptation is right in front of him?
I poured the rum from the colonel's glass into the gree-gree. I didn't need to pour... It was a manuscript. I needed to think of something else. That didn't work. I didn't want to cut the skeleton. Nope. I needed to think. Now that the wire was loose, I no longer needed the plot. Knowing the erratic surges of electricity that must have been flowing through the wire into the barrel lift, I decided it was wiser not to do it. Panels had been removed from the automaton and stacked on the floor. There was nothing left in the ash pan. Now wasn't the time to break out. The door was... The trunk was empty. I needed gunpowder for the group. The pot was practically empty again, with only a few drops of liquid wax left at the bottom. I needed to think of... That didn't work. That didn't work. I had nothing else to say to the Colonel. Now wasn't the time to rearrange the furniture. I didn't need to search for a book right now. The shield now had what looked like a bullet hole in it. I wondered if the shelves held any books. The shield now had what looked like... The flames in the fireplace glowed green, and I remembered the fire I escaped aboard the Spirit Queen. It wasn't a good sign. fire beneath the pot, even if it was green. The fire beneath the pot was already burning steadily, even if it was green. It was a small mound of gunpowder. It was a small mound. It was the bulbous glass that formerly held the Colonel's rum. Two sea deities stared at me with disapproving eyes. I didn't know what I could have done to disappoint a statue. That wasn't going to work.
Just as the stars are bound to the heavens, so will your bond now be eternally sealed.
At the far end of the ballroom, I could see the wedding unfolding. Rackham, possessing my body, was about to marry Abigail. Rows and rows of translucent ghosts dressed in their finery sat watching the wedding. As a ghost, I was trapped. With the chain now broken, there was nothing else I could do with the crane. I didn't want to risk spilling. Who knew what it could do to a ghost? I didn't need to pour... It surely wasn't going to be... I didn't need to... That wasn't going to... I didn't need to... I needed... Fire beneath the... Even if it was green. Nope. 4 animal heads protruded from the wall like those painted boards you'd push your head through for a photograph at the seaside. I had nothing else to say to the Colonel. It was a length of old rope that had snapped in the well, tied with a loop at one end. It was a fragment of bone. Knowing the skeleton belonged to a former version of myself, I placed the skeletal finger in the gree-gree. That would work as the bone fragment. The pot was practically empty again, with only a few drops of liquid wax left at the bottom. Nope. That wasn't going to work. Nope, that didn't work. I could... I could... Nope. Knowing the explosive contained gunpowder, I placed the firework into the gree-gree. That was the final ingredient. Now I just needed one more thing, an image of the focus. And this time, the focus was going to be me. I remembered the photograph of me that had been taken earlier that night, still privately tucked away inside the captain's license. I folded it up and placed it inside the gree-gree, knowing that it would work perfectly to direct the spell towards its focus, my own body. So the spell was ready. Now it was time to confront Rackham. I had nothing else to say.
Like two threads woven into the same fabric, may your lives be interwoven with love. If anyone can show just cause why these two may not lawfully be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace.
She doesn't love him.
You meddlesome fool! I am her groom. I will marry her.
Rackham has been using dark magic. The bride is under a love spell, and he's possessed my body for this wedding.
Your claims are the ravings of a madman. Vosket, resume the ceremony at once.
Yes. Then, by the power vested in me...
You've underestimated me for the last time, Rackham. If you won't return to me what is mine, I have the power to take it. Within the focus what may hide, this spell will soon reveal.
I now declare you... husband and wife.
Murphy, I'm back. We're married.
No! No!
You may now kiss the bride.
You fool! You've destroyed everything!
I've saved everything, including the one I love. But there is one thing that needs to be destroyed, Rackham, and that's you. I needed something more powerful to defeat Rackham. I didn't need to pour spirit water on that. Nope. I needed something more. Abigail, what should I do?
You need to stop Rackham, Murphy!
This ends tonight, Rackham. That wasn't going to work. That didn't. Nope. The Coffin Stone's power was to steal life, and I didn't want to take what Abigail had left of hers.
Murphy, now that we're married, the power of the stone is yours too.
And for once, it'll be used for good.
No.
Rackham, be gone.
No!
I knew you'd do it, Murphy. Do you remember now?
I can't believe I ever forgot you.
I knew you'd come back, even if just for a final goodbye.
Goodbye? Why goodbye?
The spell is broken. The ghosts of the house are able to move on.
And as I looked around us, I saw each ghost in the audience fading away as they passed over to the spirit realm, each with a grateful smile. With a heartbreaking realization, I knew Abigail would be next.
Murphy, I think I have to go with them now.
I can't lose you again, Abigail.
It was worth it to see you one last time. You've freed me. Thank you, Murphy, for everything.
No, I won't let this be the end. Stay with me, Abigail.
I wish I could, Murphy.
The coffin stone glowed green with the stolen years of Rackham's life. For once in a lifetime of evil, Rackham could do something good. The coffin stone captures a person's remaining years, and now it holds Rackham's. Abigail, I give them to you. You're back.
Just like you came back for me. Nothing could keep us apart. Not even death.
33 years without you. I never thought I'd be able to hold you again.
33 years stuck in this house. Come on, Murphy. Let's go see the sunrise. So how does it feel being a treasure hunter?
It would have been easier if I'd remembered what the treasure was this whole time. All those dreams I had of a treasure calling out to me from this house. It wasn't $13 million. It wasn't even the coffin stone. It was you. You were the treasure.
And you found me.
Why did nobody tell me who I was from the beginning?
You couldn't just be told you're in love with someone you don't recognize. You needed to remember it yourself. I knew it would happen eventually.
Why did nobody living recognize me?
Rackham has all kinds of powers I'm not sure we'll ever understand. For years, he'd been trying to erase all memories of you. His plan relied on it. To everyone else, you became just a blur. How could anyone really make the leap to realize you're a reincarnation from 30-something years ago? You didn't even know it yourself.
How did I come back from the spirit realm?
Don't you remember?
No, I remember the moment I died, and then the earliest memories of this new life I've been living, but nothing in between.
Madame Planchette told me that spirits can come back if their ties to the mortal realm remain strong enough. But even she doesn't know more than that. Who knows if we'll ever find out?
What happened to all the ghosts in the house?
They'll all have crossed over now. So many years of life destroyed by Rackham's deeds. And he didn't even need the coffin stone to do it. The spirits no longer had much to keep them here in the mortal realm anymore. They'll be happier that way. And we all end up there eventually.
In some cases, we come back. What happened to Rackham?
I don't know, but I hope his spirit was destroyed. I'd hate to think it's moved on to the spirit realm. All I do know is that we don't have to worry about him here anymore.
What are we going to do with the coffin stone?
It stayed safe in the vault for over 30 years. For now, perhaps that's where we should return it to. I think it's our duty now to watch over it, to make sure it never falls into evil hands.
Again. So, this is the end of our adventure.
This is only the beginning, Murphy. It took a bit longer than we expected, but we're married now, after all these years.
The rest of our lives are ours again.
Till death do us part.
And even longer than that.
Now, where on earth has everybody gone? I do hope that boy gets back with the rum soon.
That wasn't going to help out.